Okay. Sorry about the false start on that live stream. This live stream is going to be a little shorter, and which is what I'm trying to do. And I'm going to try and make my live streams. I'm going to try and schedule them so they don't just like show up on Thursday morning at 8 in the morning for me. Anyway, I saw. Let me go to the. There you go. I was looking at Discord and I saw this contribute a shot for the next Synthesize splash screen. And this has been a video that I've wanted to make for a long time. So here we are. Let's go to Synthesize. Let's launch it. And there's the splash screen. And one of the first comments I made to the folks at Boris was, you know, in terms of making the UI better, also making it a little more, how do you put it, like high end. So if you're working at a huge company, Framestore, or like some, you know, anyway, I was going to say Technicolor, but they don't exist anymore. But anyways, some big company. The splash screen, I get it. It's cute. It's a splash screen. Get it? Get the waves and the splashing. Anyway, I always had a problem with this because I was like, look, I think personally, Synthesize is a high-end 3D tracking and match moving tool, and I've never really held applications like After Effects in high regard because I always looked at it as a bit of a toy. Motion graphic stuff and like, I'm not looking, when I look at Synthesize, I don't think TikTok and I don't think like low end. I don't think Instagram videos. I think of huge summer movies. I think of big streaming, VFX-laden shows. Because that's what I use Synthesize for. I don't use Synthesize for smaller projects. Although I have. But the nice thing is that if it can be used on the highest quality things, then it'll work on the lowest quality things. So anyway, here we have this splash screen. I've spoken too much. And back on Discord, let's go back to Discord. Contribute a shot for the latest Synthesize splash screen. Well, you may not know this, but if you go into the Boris Effects folder and look at Synthesize, my folders are named a little funny. Don't worry about that. But you see custom splash here. And if you don't see it, you can just make a folder and call it custom space splash. I'm going to quit Synthesize. So we see this. And I've got a bunch of images here that I made a while ago. These are actually when I launch Synthesize, or when anybody at the Matchmoving company launches Synthesize, this is what it looks like. Oh, hey, look at that. So you can have your own splash screens, and just like the Synthesize splash screens where you see the waves like cross dissolve one to the next, well, if you have a sequence of images in there, it will do the same thing. And so you can have a whole pile of images, or you could just have one company image. So you don't have to wait for Boris Effects to update your splash screen. You can make it however you want. Just go to that custom splash. Here, hold on. What was it called specifically again? Custom splash. So there we go. The next thing I wanted to talk about was, let's go to the 3D room. And I wanted to talk about, let's make a humanoid. So I want to be able to click on this and have it stay up because I just want it to work like every other piece of software with a drop-down menu. But instead I have to do this. So let's see here. Where's the Earthling? That's what it's called. It's not called a humanoid. It's called Earthling. So let's just make an Earthling in top view, and I'll hit, and I'll just click again, not enter. Sorry. I'm gonna make that 1 unit tall. So, as you know, Synthize doesn't have a unit system, which is good, frankly. Let's zero out everything so it's right in the middle of the world. And it's 1 unit tall, and you decide what a unit is. So a unit could be a meter, could be a centimeter, could be an inch, could be a foot, could be a yard, it could be whatever you want. But I'm gonna move my microphone over a little bit. There we go. So that's a 1 unit tall guy. I feel like I'm just so used to like using Blender where I can just tap the period, I guess the period key on the numeric keypad, and it'll just like zoom into that. I think there is a function for that in Synthize. I just forget what it is, and I'd like to do that right now, but that's okay. All right, so we have an Earthling, and he's 1 unit tall. Let's make sure that we're in scale here. And now I'm going to go to the Boris Effects recent head editions. And I'm going to go to head mid. And I'm just going to click and click. And then I'm going to make that 1 unit tall. 1, 1, 1. Okay, we have a problem here. This is a problem. The head primitive, the new Boris Effects head primitive, is enormous. And it should match this. So if we, look at that. It's, keep scaling it down. It should be about that big. That's a problem. And it's a problem because when we work in visual effects, if we want to do, first of all, you want your scale on all of your things to be the same. They want them to be homogeneous, so they're all of the same world. That's a problem. So let's get rid of that. And I'm going to bring up this is my Finder again. And we have custom meshes here. So we have head high, head low, head mid. I'm going to close Synthize again because I'm going to show you some other stuff that I've got. So I have a bunch of objects here. These are my custom objects. And I'm going to drag those in here. Let's move them. Can we move them? I would like to. Yeah, there we go. I think that will move them because they're on the desktop. Okay. And now I've added my custom meshes. So let's go back to Synthize. We'll relaunch it. Oh, look, my splash screen. And we'll go to the 3D room. And we're going to make a humanoid again. Or Earthling. We're going to make an Earthling again. This time we're going to make it... this is a simple way to do this. So if I go 1, 1, sorry, I have to hit the tab key. 1, tab 1. And then I type 180. That'll scale the whole thing up uniformly to 180. And like we just said, Synthize doesn't have a unit system per se, but you decide, and so I'm deciding that the unit system we're going to work in is centimeters. So this is a 180 centimeter tall guy, but in feet and inches, it would be about 5'8", I think, somewhere around there. So average male height. But I don't like the topology of this. I've never liked it. These weird triangles and whatnot. So what I did is I went into Blender and I used the, what's it called? Basically the Make Human add-on for Blender. But I made these here's Earthling version 2, and enter. We'll scale them up to about 180. I'll just do it manually. There we go. There. So, there's my Earthling. So my Earthling has nice topography. I even have a high poly version, so let's look at that. I'll make him right next door to my other guy. So there's my high poly Earthling. And how, that again is as simple as going into your custom meshes folder and just dropping your own meshes in there. So you can take the Boris Effects head high, head low, head mid, and get rid of those because, frankly, they're not great because of the scale issues. But that's the joy of Synthize. Like, you get something out of the box, and you don't have to use it out of the box. You can build your own thing. So here, let me go to my generic head, which I've had forever. So I have my generic head here. I'll put that in and click, and we'll go 1, 1, 1, and then 180. Oh, hey, look, my head it's the same scale as my other heads. So that's what you want. You basically want your meshes to all be of the same world size. What else do I have? I never really also liked the humanoid with the, waving high. I also have my generic man relaxed, so we'll just scale him up. Hey, look, there's just a generic guy. So when I don't get geometry from on a job, sometimes that happens. You get, it'll just be like, hey, I don't quite know what the scale or like the geometry, or I don't have a scan, I don't have a set survey. I will put humanoids into the shot and then scale them up to 180 and then make sure everything's to the scale, assuming that we all agree that we're going to use centimeters as our unit system. If you decide meters as our unit system, then you'd make that guy 1.8 units tall. So that's it. That's all I wanted to cover today for this very short live stream. Thank you for joining me. If you joined me, oh, hi, Christian. I will be doing more live streams. I'm going to do, like I said in my previous video, I'm going to start cutting these down and turning them into actual tutorials and trying to make them more condensed. But in the meantime, this is just a quick way for me to get the material out there. I hope that helps, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.